Greetings, my fellow beings! My name is Amanda, and today we are going to be reacting to The Golden Girls, because why not? I was looking up a bunch of TV shows that depict chronic illnesses correctly, and I came across The Golden Girls, which I used to watch The Golden Girls when I was younger, so I would have seen this episode, but I don't remember this episode. So we're going to be watching Season 5, Episode 1, Sick and Tired, and then Episode 2, Sick and Tired. So that's what we're going to be reacting to today, and this has to do with chronic fatigue syndrome. So I'm going to be reacting to the things that they talk about with chronic fatigue syndrome, because in America, myalgic encephalomyelitis is often called chronic fatigue syndrome, but it's a really horrible name for the illness because it isn't just being tired all the time. It has a lot of other things, which is why outside of the United States it's called ME, which is why I call it ME, because it's a better name. It describes it way better than chronic fatigue syndrome. So we're going to be watching this, and I'm going to be reacting to it. So let's get started.
I dare you won't believe it.
Sorry, Blanche, I can't.
What's the matter, Dorothy?
I don't know what to do. I just don't know. I was in front of the class and I couldn't talk. I was too tired to talk. Not that they would have listened. They were too busy sniffing the whiteout they'd stolen from typing class. I had to excuse them early. I just cannot get rid of this flu. And it keeps getting worse, not better.
But it's been months now. Maybe it's not the flu. Flu doesn't last that long. You ought to go.
One of the things with ME or CFS is that it does feel like the flu. It feels like you're constantly sick with the flu. So you have the body aches, you have the headaches, you have the extreme fatigue, you have all of those things that go along with the flu is what is in ME/CFS. So I can see where she's coming from, thinking that she's having a flu for a very long time.
Back to Dr. Raymond.
I did, Blanche. He said I'm fine.
Get a second opinion. She did. She went to Dr. Schlesinger. Well, then, you are fine. Now, you want to hear my idea? She's not fine, Blanche. Look at her. I didn't say she looks fine. I said she was fine. She looks like hell.
Thank you, Blanche.
But Dorothy, you've got to see another doctor. Raymond is not a specialist.
Yeah, but what kind of specialist do I need?
Well, just call up Dr. Raymond and ask him. He'll refer you.
You have to, honey. You're getting sicker and sicker.
Just like my heroin, sicker and sicker. Though, of course, my heroin doesn't look like you.
This is the problem a lot with ME/CFS, is that there aren't really specialists in this. I luckily have one of the few specialists that I see, but it's super rare to find someone that you can find that knows anything about ME/CFS. It is starting to become more and more widely known. Doctors are going to conferences and learning about it, so it is becoming more known, but for the most part, the average doctor doesn't know very much about ME/CFS.
Look, all I can think about are my test results and how to keep this gown closed.
Don't worry about it. You won't be needing it. Dorothy, get dressed. You're fine.
I beg your pardon?
We've run every test known to man. They're all normal. You can get dressed, go home, enjoy your life.
But, Dr. Stevens, I was always healthy, and then I came down with this flu. I can't get rid of it. I've been sick for 5 months now. I have a constant sore throat, swollen glands, fevers. My muscles ache and are weak. I am totally exhausted all the time.
I know. You told me.
Well,
I cannot describe to you how many times I've had test results come back normal when I felt like crap. And it is devastating to have that. It's not like you want to have an illness, but when you've been sick for so long, just to have a diagnosis would be fantastic. So yes, and the way this doctor is acting. I've had more than one doctor act like this.
Look, Dorothy, can I ask you a personal question?
Yes?
You're divorced.
Yes.
How's your social life? Do you see men?
What in the world does seeing men have to do with anything?
Well, Dorothy, we know for a fact that if people are not happy, and lonely people aren't, they get all kinds of symptoms. Depression, fatigue. Symptoms very much like the ones you described.
Look,
I'm getting triggered right now. Yeah, so a lot of times whenever you come in with aches, pains, just general not feeling well, doctors automatically assume that you are depressed if you are female. And I can't tell you how many times I have been diagnosed antidepressants when I knew I wasn't depressed at that time, because I have suffered with depression on and off throughout my entire life, so I know what it feels like. And I would tell them, this is not depression, I know what depression feels like. And they would say, well, I'm the doctor and I know better. And I'm like, I think I know me better than you do. But this is very typical that a woman is being treated like this. And I'm not just saying that because I am female. There have been studies done that show that women are discriminated against more often than men when it comes to chronic illnesses.
Dr. Stevens, I don't think you understand, so I'm going to tell you again. I am at a point now where I am so exhausted that sometimes I cannot speak. Literally, cannot speak. There are days when I can't get out of bed. Raising my arms to wash my hair in the shower is too exhausting for me. I can't even do that. I have heart palpitations. I can't concentrate. I forget things. I get confused.
Look, Dorothy, I don't believe you're sick, but you do. Now, you want to pursue this? You want to spend more money? That's fine with me. So, go to New York and see the man I studied with. He's the best neurologist there is. I don't know anyone better. Do you have...
Actually, if I would have had a doctor that just flat out said, I don't believe you're sick, that would have made my life actually easier, because I could have just left that doctor and gotten a new one, instead of a doctor that didn't care and would just ignore me, which I then did leave that doctor. But not being believed when you're really sick is something that eats at your soul. It is something that really is devastating, and you start to believe that you're going crazy. And it is very common for people to believe that they are going crazy when doctor after doctor is saying, no, your test results are coming back just fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. And it can take years to finally find a diagnosis. And it takes a long time for you to get over the fact that for years doctors were treating you like a crazy person.
2.5 hours. I thought you died. What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Who are you?
I'm the doctor.
We'll see about that.
Look, Mrs.
Trillo, I'm Dorothy's mother, and I want to know what's wrong with her. And don't tell me nothing, because I know there's something wrong with her. Mothers know.
Look, Ma, I'll talk to you about it later.
Your daughter is fine, Mrs. Petrillo.
100%?
100%.
Tip-top?
Tip-top.
Then, Mr. 100% tip-top, why the hell does she feel like hell?
It's always good to have an advocate, to have someone that will stick up for you and be willing to say the things that you are either embarrassed to say or too scared to say. To have an advocate is somebody that is really important when you have a chronic illness. And my suggestion to anyone that's suffering from any kind of chronic illness is to find someone that you trust, that you know will stick up for you. And a lot of times that's hard, because sometimes family, friends will leave you when you become sick. But my biggest tip is to find someone that you can trust, that you can have come and at least sit with you, so that you can have that feeling of an army rather than an individual. And I would have loved to have this woman as my advocate, though my husband did a fantastic job, and before him, my mom was the best advocate. So find someone that you can trust that will stand up for you.
Look, Ma...
Wait, I gotta hear this.
It could be functional.
Functional?
Mental.
Mental. Well, let me something, Mr. 100% tip-top mental. My daughter may be no spring chicken, and her jaw might crack when she chews. And she may have noticeable trouble digesting raw vegetables. But one thing she's not is mental.
Thanks, Ma. So,
what are you doing here? You've seen everybody. Nobody found anything wrong with you. And between their workups and mine, there are no more tests to run.
Yeah, but I know
Mrs. Warner, your main complaint is you're tired. I get tired, too. It's called getting old.
Dr.
Wow, I didn't know that this episode was going to get to me so much. Um, when people say, I get tired too, or just wait till you insert whatever. So wait until you're my age, wait until you have kids, wait until you have this kind of job, wait. Then you'll know what being tired actually is. And that is something that really gets under my skin because it's an exhaustion that is not normal. It's not like I've worked a full day on a farm. I have worked a full day in an office. I have worked a full day doing all kinds of different activities, and I have gone to bed absolutely exhausted because of that work. But this is completely different. Like, this is mind-numbing, where sometimes you forget to chew your food because you're so tired. Sometimes you can't talk. Sometimes you can't do anything. And just lifting up limbs is hard. Getting up to go to the bathroom is horrendous because you're just so tired. And to have someone say, I get tired too, is insulting and is a slap in the face. And this doctor is horrendous, but I have seen doctors like this, so they're out there.
But that's not what this is. I am sick. I've had to give up my job because I was too tired to do it.
How'd you get here?
I flew.
To my office.
A taxi.
And from the taxi?
But how did I get from the taxi to your office?
Not a hard question.
I walked.
Right, you walked. You're not sick, Dorothy. The people I see can't walk. They can't swallow. Some of them can't breathe. Look, don't take this the wrong way, but have you ever thought about seeing a psychiatrist?
I have seen two. Here are their letters. They both say there is nothing psychologically wrong with me. They believe it is physical.
Yep. I've had people tell me before that I can't be sick because they see me walking. But what they're not noticing is all the times I have to sit down, where I have to take deep breaths, where I have to lay down. They only see like the small snippets of me walking because I am an ambulatory wheelchair user. When I'm not in a wheelchair, they're like, oh, see, you're just faking it. It's not real. See, you're walking. And there was one specific time where I was at a camp out and they asked me to be in a parade, and I said, I cannot be in the parade. I cannot walk that far. And they're like, but you're walking fine right now. And I'm like, our camp out is not that big, and you haven't seen all the times that I have to go into my tent and lay down, where I have to sit in my chair and rest for a long period of time before I can get up and walk again. And people take for granted how much energy going from point A to point B can be when you are this sick.
What the hell do they know? Psychiatry is not a science.
Then why did you suggest I see one?
Wow. 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 This doctor needs to get sacked. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because what you have is not scientific. What else was I going to do? Send you to New Mexico to a shaman? There's nothing wrong with you, Dorothy, except what happens to all of us. In case you haven't noticed, you're not 30. Take a cruise, Dorothy. Go to a hypnotist. Change your hair color. My wife became a blonde. She's a new woman.
Maybe I am crazy. Nobody believes me. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm really crazy.
Oh, Dorothy, you are not crazy. I mean, you are absolutely not crazy. I've seen the way you walk. I've seen how wiped out you get. You're not crazy, honey. You're sick.
I think so, too. I really do. But nobody believes me.
Doctors don't know everything, Dorothy.
I think that's one thing that people really need to remember is that doctors are human too. They don't know everything. And when a doctor believes that they know everything, they don't. So if you're having a doctor that is not listening to you and is not being your advocate and getting your health back to the way it was, or at least getting your health to a point where you can function, then you need a new doctor, because that doctor is not doing their job. But they are human and they do make mistakes.
You're right.
I mean, they think they do, but they don't.
You're right.
I mean, after all, Dr. Seuss was a doctor, too. Sophia, we have all seen our husbands die. We know what that is.
Except for her, she was getting a manicure. Pedicure. Well, I'm 80-something, and I've seen more death and dying than any of you. Over the past 5 months, we've seen a perfectly healthy, energetic woman waste away. She can't do anything anymore. So what difference does it make that they don't have a name for it yet? It's still something. There were lots of diseases they didn't have a name for. You think they had a name for the Black Plague when one guy had it? Thousands had to die before they knew what it was. Dorothy could be dying and they just don't know it.
When you have people that witness your decline and they know that it's happening and they believe you and they stick up for you, it's worth more than all the money on the planet. It is something that is really needed, to have someone that believes you, but that they also have seen your health decline and they know that it's real. So,
well, as far as doctors go, you've certainly seen the best.
The best don't exist anymore. The best are dead.
Well, I don't know about that.
You're the exception, Harry. I didn't mean you. So do you think I'm crazy, too?
Dorothy, I think you're very sane. Just because a doctor hasn't found something doesn't mean there isn't something there.
Are you serious? Well, how come you know that and they don't?
First of all, dear, I know you. You're a stable person, and if you say you're sick, you probably are sick. Now,
this is the type of doctor you want. You want a doctor that believes you and is willing to find what's wrong with you, and you want someone that, even if they don't know what it is, they're willing to search.
Morning.
Oh, Dorothy, you look terrific. Where are you going?
Oh, to see that specialist that Harry recommended?
Wipe off your makeup.
What?
You look too healthy. Maybe that's why they don't believe you. You don't look sick.
I had to stop wearing makeup to doctor's appointments because of this exact thing. Because they would say, oh, you look really healthy. And you're like, I have a lot of stuff on my face. And it was actually my therapist who told me that I needed to stop because people needed to see me the way that I actually was feeling. And I looked horrendous, but I was able to cover it up, and I'm a really good actress, so I was able to get my face on and get out there and say I'm great. And so now I don't wear makeup when I go to the doctors for this exact reason, because they say I don't look sick.
Monek, I'm finished. You've seen some wonderful doctors, but I really can't agree with their findings. There are new diseases arising all the time, things that we don't necessarily have tests for. But that doesn't mean the diseases don't exist. Well, I think that you are sick. I think you have something called chronic fatigue syndrome. It's fairly recent. There are many theories about it, but most of us believe it's a virus. It just has not been identified yet.
Doctors just kept telling me I was depressed.
Well, depression can make a person feel tired. But depression doesn't start suddenly, give you swollen glands, sore throat, and all the other symptoms. Now, there are certain blood tests, which we'll do, and if those results are abnormal, that combined with the exclusion of the other diseases will compose a profile that actually thousands of people fit.
So I really have something real.
I would say you most certainly do. But we should have our answers in a couple of weeks.
How long will it last? I mean, will it go away? Does it get worse? Does anyone die from it?
Well, no one has died from it. We don't know how long it lasts. Some people seem to recover in months. Some still have it after 10 years. But that happens in other diseases as well. You take multiple sclerosis. Some people have 20-year remissions. Others wind up in wheelchairs. There are variations.
So the thing with ME is that there are people that die from the side effects of ME, unfortunately. Is it extremely common? No. But with every illness, you're going to have people that die from complications with that illness. So, I mean, this is when chronic fatigue syndrome had started to become more known. So, of course, they don't know all the things that we know now. But They do know that it is caused by a virus, and they still to this day do not know exactly which virus it is, but they do know that it is started by a virus. And there's a few theories on which ones start it, but they're not entirely sure yet. Hopefully with more research they will discover that. But it is a real illness, and people actually do get sick from it.
All I can say at this point is try to adapt to it. Rest when you need to, eat well, eliminate stress if you can. Right now there is no cure, and no one thing that relieves symptoms in everyone. Right now, I'm afraid you'll just have to live with it.
Oh, why didn't they tell me, all those doctors I saw?
I'm sure some of them weren't familiar with it. And the ones who have heard about it sometimes have trouble believing it exists, since they're not able to see it under their microscopes just yet. Those colleagues of mine, unfortunately, tend to blame the victim.
And that is the truth. Emmy, it is just dealing with symptoms, treating the symptoms, knowing your body, knowing when you need to rest, knowing how far you can push yourself, how far you can get away with certain activities, and knowing when to stop. And that's basically what life with Emmy is you just have to know your body, and you have to understand where your threshold is, and you need to stop when you get there, because it can make things way worse if you don't. So unfortunately, there is no cure.
Ladies, drinks?
Champagne, the best you have.
Dorothy, that's so expensive.
Shut up, Rose.
This is my treat. It is a celebration.
What are we celebrating?
My daughter found out she has a debilitating disease.
It's hilarious. When you finally get a diagnosis and you know what is wrong with you, you do celebrate. You finally are like, yes, I did it. I figured this out. It's only later that you're like, oh, I guess I gotta live with this now. But at the beginning, it is so exciting to finally have a name for your illness.
Ah,
And it has a name. I am thrilled.
We all are.
well, of course. Congratulations. Champagne it is.
I can't tell you what a relief it is to just be sick, not sick and crazy, and to know what I have, and that there are a lot of other people who have the same thing.
I don't like the name. I think I ought to have a better name.
Well, that's what Dr. Chang said. Chronic fatigue syndrome makes it sound like I'm just a tired person, when it is so much more than that.
I think they should name it after you.
Well, I tell you, Dr. Budd, I really am sick. I have chronic fatigue syndrome. That is a real illness. You can check with the Center for Disease Control.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about that.
Well, I'm glad. At least I know I have something.
I'm sure. Well, it's nice seeing you.
Not so fast. There are some things I have to say. There are a lot of things that I have to say. Words can't express what I have to say. What I went through, what you put me through. I can't do this in a restaurant.
Good.
But I will.
Louis, who is this person?
Look, miss.
Sit. I sat for you long enough. Dr. Budd, I came to you sick and scared, and you dismissed me. You didn't have the answer, and instead of saying, I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with you, you made me feel crazy, like I had made it all up. You dismissed me. You made me feel like a child, a fool, a neurotic who was wasting your precious time. Is that your caring profession? Is that healing? No one deserves that kind of treatment, Dr. Budd. No one. I suspect had I been a man, I might have been taken a little bit more seriously and not told to go to a hairdresser.
Look,
Amen to that. Amen to that. I can't tell you how many times I have been dismissed because I am female. And then my husband stands up for me. He's like, no, she's sick. This is what I've seen. And they're like, oh, well, then let's run this test. And it's like, why couldn't you run the test before he said anything? But
I am not going to sit here anymore.
Shut up, Louis.
I don't know where you doctors lose your humanity, but you lose it. You know, if all of you at the beginning of your careers could get very sick and very scared for a while, you'd probably learn more from that than anything else. You'd better start listening to your patients. They need to be heard. They need caring. They need compassion. They need attending to. You know, someday, Dr. Budd, you're going to be on the other side of the table. And as angry as I am, and as angry as I always will be, I still wish you a better doctor than you were to me.
Are you all right?
I feel better than I have felt in a long time.
So that was a fantastic episode, 2 episodes on CFS or Emmy. And I really like how it shows that it is so much more than just being tired. It is a full body experience. Like, it is very debilitating and can change your life drastically. And she had to quit her job because of that illness. And I had to quit mine because of my illness. And so I feel this is a true representation of what CFS is, that the representation of how doctors treat a lot of women that have CFS is very accurate. I'm not saying that all doctors are like this. I don't want anyone saying, but not all doctors are like this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a lot of doctors will treat their patients this way, and especially female patients. And that has been my experience for most of my life. And I really enjoyed this episode, and I don't really have anything horrible to say about it. I don't have anything bad to say. It was really well done, and while some of the information is a little dated, because I mean this show came out quite a while ago, I don't feel like it came out quite a while ago, but when you do the math, it did. So the information is a little dated, but other than that, I thought that was a great representation of what ME/CFS is, and the fear that you have when you are sick and you have no idea what's going on, and going from doctor to doctor wondering if you are going crazy, because that's a real thing that happens when no one is finding anything and you really believe you're sick, but no one's finding anything and they're telling you that you're crazy. You start to believe that you are. I hope that you found this entertaining. I hope that you got some information from it. I hope that if you have CFS or ME, that you saw yourself in this episode and that you understood it. And if you don't have it, I hope that you saw that ME/CFS is way more than just being tired, which is why chronic fatigue syndrome is a really bad name for this illness. So I hope that you learned something from it. If you did enjoy this video, or you learned something new, then go ahead and click that subscribe button, and go ahead and click that like button if you did enjoy this video. Remember to be kind. Kindness is free, so give it out to everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Greetings, my fellow beings.